So I've finally got around to making the second part in this video series on my DIY wood burning stove installation. This second part is going to be on how I made the 45-degree angled hole for the dual wall flue pipe to go through from the stove to the outside of the house. So I started looking for how people typically approach this task, and the main way seems to be to make a big hole in the outer and inner walls, as you can see in this example. Another view of that from the inside is here, so you can see there's quite an extensive hole in the inner wall and in the outer wall. I didn't fancy doing this whatsoever, to be quite honest, for a variety of reasons. Firstly, I wouldn't know how to approach restoring the brickwork on the outside. I wouldn't know how to match up the bricks and make them fit around the circular pipe. My house has got manufactured stone on the outside, and I think that would be quite difficult to match up and look good. The main reason, though, is that my stove installation is actually on the second floor, so it's quite a long way up in the air, and there's no way to put scaffolding up because the ground at the bottom is it's on a slope. So if I'm going to do any work outside, it's going to be up a ladder, and I don't really think it's going to be possible for me to go up a ladder and do that kind of brickwork restoration around the flue pipe afterwards. Obviously there's the redecoration element, which I don't want to do inside. There's wallpaper up, and it's not very nice wallpaper, but I can't be bothered changing it. So for those reasons, I need to come up with a way to make the hole entirely working from the inside. The second way some people do it is with one of these machines, which would be nice, but I'm guessing it's quite expensive, and I don't know where to get one, and it wouldn't really be DIY if I did it like that, and I think they would have a lot of problems actually attaching it to the wall, because like I say, the ground is on a slope. I'm assuming they probably need to put scaffolding up to attach that to your wall, so that was a no-go as well. So getting started, the first thing I did was to move the stove out of the way. So it was quite a good idea to put it on a glass mantelpiece, because it's very easy just to push it around the floor, as you can see, and get it out of the way. These things are very difficult to lift. Also, being able to move it around like that is going to make future maintenance a lot easier. Then I got the sheets down, as you can see. And now you come to the idea that I had to work on this entirely from the inside. And the idea that I had was to use the wall sleeve, which I mentioned in the first video, as a template with which to cut through the wall. So the first step here was I'm literally just putting the wall sleeve up against the wall in the position where I want the flue pipe to go through the wall, and I'm just drawing an outline around it to cut into. And the first step is to cut into the plasterboard. So you can see this here. I'm not going to show all these videos, but I started off with a Stanley knife. This was quite hard work. I'll just skip through it a little bit. I mean, this didn't take very long. It only took about 10-15 minutes to do the whole thing. This is in real time, it's not edited. So you can see at the bottom, I have to estimate a 45-degree angle and sort of progressively make it less if you're going that way and more if you're going that way. At the sides, obviously, it's kind of more perpendicular you need to cut. After that, I switched to using a saw. I drilled 2 holes just to give a starting point for the saw. And I started sawing, which was a lot easier than using the Stanley knife. I'm not quite sure what the name of this saw is, but I'm sure you can find out. Again, I'll just skip through a bit. You don't need to see all of this, it's pretty obvious what I'm doing really. You can see at the bottom there's a 45-degree angle estimated, and then it's more perpendicular at the sides. Yeah, this is better than the Stanley knife. This is what it is anyway, I'm not even sure what it's called. And then just the last video on this. Again, I'll just skip through it because it's pretty obvious. And now I'm just going to test fit the sleeve. Well, hey, first time. Look at that. And the idea now is to use SDS masonry drills to use the sleeve as a guide to cut through the wall. So this is how I started off. So I'm using a SDS drill with long masonry drill bits. Again, I'll just skip through this a little bit. A hammer drill to begin with. So we're using this to line up. So I think I should go in horizontally slightly. Go in horizontally. And then turn it up a little bit more. Yep, well explained past me. That was the technique that I used. You did have to go into the wall kind of horizontally and then to get in about an inch, so the drill would actually bite and then angle it down to the actual angle you want. And yeah, the main trouble at first was that the sleeve just kept falling out. So this is just a video of that. You didn't see that. So that's what happened. The solution I came up with for that was in this video, where one side I did manage to get one hole through the wall, or at least through the inner wall, and I decided to sacrifice one of the SDS drill bits. So I'm just going to leave this in now. And I'm going to attach it to the sleeve with duct tape. So you can see I'm just duct taping that SDS drill bit to the sleeve to stop the sleeve falling out. And that did work pretty well. I used that the majority of the time. So after that, the rest of it consisted of using a variety of drilling, cutting and chiseling tools. So I've just made a montage which will explain all of this. Feel free to watch it at 2x speed, 3x speed, or skip through it if you want. It's about 7 minutes long. You probably don't need to see all of it. It's fairly obvious, but there are some interesting bits in it. So I'll show you that now, and I'll be back in a minute.
Up at the top, it looks like there might be enough clearance already. Like the outer wall is about 5 inches thick.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. The third part of the video is going to be on the actual flue installation. And the fourth and final part is going to be a kind of summary of miscellaneous things that, summarising the experience of doing it. Would I do it again? And that kind of thing. Okay, see you next time.